Good afternoon. This, my name is Francisco Hen Kim. I'm the chair of Licensing and Education Committee. We're going to start the committee meeting as of November 5th, 1:08 p.m. And should we have a roll call to go?
Chair Francisco Kim,
Yes.
Gregory Leung,
Here.
you have the full committee here.
Thank you. Okay, so I'm going to make some remarks on this Licensing and Education Committee. We, as I recall from last meeting, we had some discussion on some of the agenda on the degree, naming, titles, prerequisites, and science requirements and clinical hours for internship and externship. And yeah.
Just move it closer.
Okay, sorry.
You want your glasses, sir.
All right. Okay, can you hear me better? Okay, thank you. So I was in that meeting also, but I now I'm trying to make a comment on those issues. As a over 25 year of experience, the acupuncture practitioner, I look at all these issues as a very the issues facing our whole acupuncture profession. But when I see this degree and all this, I think board can sustain. I mean the support, but my point is we need to have a more participation. That's been an issue, and I thought that's because as I studied the acupuncture career. I went to school in 1990s, and the law became in effect in 1970s. As I recall, some of them here are, it's been there since then, but as a traditional Chinese medicine practitioner or California acupuncture practitioner, the generation has been changing, and now we are facing all these issue, but we are not going forward with participation wise and also the actual what public wants or needs. In what I mean by the needs is acupuncture practitioner provide a service what public need, but it in the insurance they don't recognize it because they didn't have a good scientific evidence or lobbying in determining their coverage or fee schedule. So I've been thinking why there are so many associations and why there's so many just opinions and comments, but not comes in one action to resolve all this. Is because maybe it's the limit of the former generations this the approach. So what I can suggest is we can with lure some mobilize more of participation from masters who's been in the practice, because I see some of good schools, fine schools, are closing down, or I just heard that Southern California University of Health Science is merging, taking over the PCOM campuses in San Diego and Chicago. I think it's because the quality of education that students demand is very, very high, and some of the schools cannot come up with that. Maybe that's why the enrollment is low. It's not that because they are bad in what they're doing. So I think we should have some consensus on medical education, because I see two different aspects on this issue, because either traditional Chinese medicine or East Asian medicine, they've been coming from East Asia. But in 1970s, they didn't even have a good scientific base and foundation. But so far, in China or Korea or Japan, they made a lot of advancement, but not in the California, at least, not in the America, I think. It's because they've been on the same paradigm of curriculum on focusing on very traditional Chinese medicine format. So I think it's about time for us to think about this, to bring more masters who's been out in the clinical field, the clinical practice, and get some more good their insights, and get some more advices, so that we can hopefully overhaul, update our current curriculum, so that everyone can learn the basic, the medical education should be, I think, aligning with other healthcare profession. That should be the first line, so that we can be more simplify the other issues like insurance, reimbursement, or other Medicare participation stuff. The reason why I'm saying is I've been into different association meetings and a lot of other events. Those old, elderly, those generations couldn't achieve it. So it's now time for all the so-called masters who have a lot of insight and experience should participate in this licensing and education committee, so we can update our education curriculum. Then I think we can produce better training, better trained licensee, so that they can come up with the level of service which current market demand. Okay, so we're going to go into the discussion on the doctorate degree. I'm sorry. We're gonna go into 3. Okay, review and possible approval of committee meeting minutes for June 12th, 2025.
They're just opening remarks. So no. Excuse me. Okay, so Chair Kim, as you were not part of the committee last time, it's best for you to abstain from the review and vote. So it falls to Member Leung. Do you have any issues or items that you would like to address regarding the minutes from the last meeting, or would you like to make a motion to approve? Accept. It's a committee, so it's okay. Yeah, as long as we have some kind of acceptance. Even though he wasn't there? Legal counsel says it's okay for you to second. Member Kim, if there's a motion on the table.
Okay, I would like to make a motion to accept the minutes of the last committee meeting, which was March 6th,
June 12th.
June 12th, I'm sorry.
Mhm.
Yes.
We have a motion on the table. I'm sorry. Yeah, on the table to accept.
I second.
Chair Kim has seconded. Open it up for public comment for members in the audience here. Moderator, if you could please start a 3-minute clock.
Neil Miller from Cal Atma.
We're going to take a little break to address the technical difficulties. Please bear with us for a moment. All right, 1:25, we will resume. There's presently a motion on the table to accept the June 12th Licensing Committee meeting minutes. There is a second. I'm sorry, the motion was by Member Leung, and the second was by Chair Kim. And we are now in public comment with Neil Miller, about to present with a 3-minute time limit. Thank you.
Good morning, committee members. My name is Neil Miller, representing Cal Atma. In the minutes, during the presentation, there were 2 papers that were presented to the board on the subject. They were very distinct and they had a lot of details, and there's no mention of it at all. And if we're going to have accurate minutes to the meeting, this was a presentation that took time, a lot of effort to write, and anybody who wants to look at the minutes to understand what went on at that meeting won't understand. They won't understand the presentation that was made. This should be included in the minutes. It was presented to the board in a timely manner, and it should reflect not just a person spoke, but a person. You don't have to include Cal Atma as the speaker, but you can write down the presentation that we made. A paragraph this big does not handle these 3 pages of information, and it's a disservice to the public to not be able to basically capture the presentation that was made during that time. So I would not want to accept this until this is included in the minutes.
Any other comments from the public? Moderator, any comments on WebEx?
WebEx is now open for public comment on the meeting minute motion. If you'd like to make a comment, please raise a hand by tapping that hand button at the bottom of the screen. Dial-in users dial *3 to raise your hand. And our first request is coming from Ron Zeidman. Hold on just a moment, please. We're sending you a request to unmute your microphone.
Ron Zaidman from Five Branches University. I do want to compliment the Acupuncture Board for its use of AI or whatever technology you're using, because the minutes are quite comprehensive, except as Neil Miller commented, and quite clear. So thank you for that clarity.
Thank you. And that was our only online request.
Thank you for the comment, and it's processed by humans. Uh, and yeah, we there's a number of staff that take a look at that and put it together. We're ready to move on to, oh yeah, we need to do board votes, so roll call.
Chair Francisco Kim.
Yes.
Okay. Gregory Leung.
Yes.
Okay. Motion passes to accept the minutes.
Thank you.
They are already adopted.
We'll look to see if we can include the materials provided to the board as supplementals on the website. Moving on to item number 4, Chair, we are ready to start the discussion and possible action on stakeholder identified changes to the acupuncture curriculum requirements.
Okay, so we are on item 4, discussion and possible action on stakeholders identified changes to the acupuncture curriculum requirements. A doctorate degree. So we have already a program approved by ACAHM. So any other issues, or is there any need to discuss on this?
Yeah, this item was re-agendized so that we could hear from the institutions that offer these programs. Presently, there is a Doctorate of Acupuncture and Oriental Medicine, a DAOM program that functions as a completion program for those individuals that have obtained a master's degree in acupuncture and can now move forward with this additional education to get a doctorate degree. What we've also started seeing in the last 10 years is the introduction of the first professional doctorate, wherein the curriculum that the board requires to be able to be eligible to sit for the licensing exam is now contained within the first professional doctorate, to contrast from the DAOM program, which does not specifically address curriculum because by that point you're already licensed. And then the licensees that were bringing this item up were encouraging the board to move to a doctorate level education requirement. What we had identified at the previous committee meeting is that that is not incumbent on the board to do. The board does not set the degree requirements. The board sets the curriculum requirements. And should the profession and the educators seek to arrive at a new standard for its licensees, for its professionals and practitioners to arrive at, then they must work together and provide an option for the board to consider, and they must seek legislation to have this a requirement. When they seek that legislation, if that bill gets an author and actually becomes a bill, then the board will hear that and take a position of support or oppose, depending on the content of that bill. And so really, we're bringing this up again to allow schools to provide their perspective and their opinion on the viability of moving to a doctorate degree, and again, to point out to our stakeholders that this is beyond the purview of the board, but the board is encouraging this discussion within the profession such that at least you can make an informed decision on which direction you would like to go, professional members.
Thank you, Ben. Is there any public comment on this?
Hi, Chair and the board member. Good afternoon, and all the audience. I'm Lillian Lee. I'm represent Alhambra Medical University. I'm the academic dean of the AMU, and I hold most master science in traditional Asian medicine and a doctor of acupuncture and integrated medicine. Before I entered this TCM field, I practiced as a registered nurse for 20 years. From my point of view, through my nursing experience, I witnessed the firsthand how credentialing and competency shape potential trust and the satisfaction, and ultimately the future of healthcare. When I transitioned from nursing to TCM, I recognized the opportunity to strengthen acupuncture education, particularly in areas such as a doctor degree titles, and such prerequisite science requirements. Today, I think Eastern and Western medicine are moving toward deeper integration. So, for example, San Francisco Department of Public Health now is hiring acupuncturists as a part of a collaborative healthcare team. And it's a government job. And this isn't an isolated example. So it's part of the growing government movement. So City of Hope is the second one. So the national leading cancer center now includes acupuncture in their post-chemotherapy recovery programs to help patients rebuild the strength and restore balance. The third one, example, the UC Irvine Medical Center, has gone even further, establishing a dedicated acupuncture department. So these examples shows that acupuncture is now no longer a margins. It's becoming an essential part of modern integrative healthcare. And the trend requires the acupuncture professional to elevate the educational standards to meet consumer expectations and interprofessional demands.
30 seconds.
Okay, so there is a lot of benefit, strengthen public confidence, enhance interprofessional collaborations, position acupuncture as a vital part of modern healthcare. And for the consumer, unified education standard demonstrates professionalism and accountability. Consumer who see the doctor titles will trust that they are receiving care from regularly trained licensed practitioner. So my finally point is the first professional doctorate is not a simple academic upgrade. It is a professional necessary and also a unified vision for the future. So our degree title, prerequisite, and the clinical standards, we can strengthen patient safety, collaborations, and trust. Education defines scope, and the scope defines future. Trust. Thank you all.
Thank you.
There was a comment in the back. Oh,
Good afternoon. I'm George Kreekus. I'm an attorney for 45 years in Southern California. I believe in acupuncture. I have undergone that treatment for about 25 years. It's helped me in every possible way. I believe perception is a very important part of all of our businesses, be it a lawyer, be it an acupuncturist, whatever you do. I think once you could call yourself a doctor, I think that will help everybody's business. And I say that mostly contemplating that the internet has come to be a monster in our world in the last 20 years, and everybody has it in their pocket. So when they want to look for a provider, they just have to hold that little phone in their hand, and they're going to be seeing a list of providers. And the doctor stands out. I want a doctor putting the needles in me. And I think that's will help your businesses. As a side note, I have a Juris Doctorate degree. I can't call myself a doctor. I don't know why, but I do. But in California, you don't have to have a Juris Doctorate degree. You could go to homeschool for 4 years if you pass the test. But I guarantee you, nobody's going to want to go to you if you don't show that JD. And the way acupuncture has grown in the last 20 years, I think it's incumbent upon you to use that same idea. Thank you.
Thank you.
Dr. Miller.
Neil Miller from Cal ATMA. I appreciate the chair's reference that this has been going on for quite a while. It was actually 1993 when the profession itself said, we need more education. And the school and the profession were at odds. And we had an hourly conference about how many hours were necessary. We had a curriculum competency thing to see how many hours were necessary. And all that led us to was the Little Hoover Commission. And a lot has changed since the Little Hoover Commission, but nobody's reflecting that. It's obvious, I mean, we know that the CAB cannot make legislative changes, but we do have a vehicle for the legislature to understand what's going on. It'll be coming up in another couple of years, the joint legislative committee hearing. There should be some sort of summary of these discussions that are on and on and on. And that we need to have an acupuncture modernization bill that includes all of these things that have gone on. When, you know, in this last almost 30 years, we didn't have MRIs, CTs, ultrasound, PET scans. All of that has been included in the evolution of medicine, and there's the evolution of our medicine. It's thousands of years old, but what's happened in the last 20, 30 years, both in modern medicine, unveiling the mystery of Chinese medicine and all the research studies that are going on, and you hear about what's going on at UC Irvine and some of the other major cancer institutes. That needs to be reported to the powers that be, which means the legislature. And the vehicle to do that would be joint legislative, as opposed to preparing at the last minute all the things that we need to do. We need to take a longer term strategy. I know that Francisco wasn't here when we had the meeting on the 12th. I don't know if the board still has copies of those, but I did bring a copy. You could make a copy to give to Francisco, so he at least knows what I'm talking about when we made the presentation and discussed all the different titles and options. And the board should have a discussion to figure this out. So I'll hand that in now. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other comments from the public present in the meeting room? Seeing no movement at the moment, let's go ahead and turn to the WebEx. Any comments available there?
All right, WebEx is open for public comment on this portion of item 4. I've seen some hands go up and down. Don't be afraid to put those hands up early. First, we're going to be calling on Chad Wong. Hold on just a moment, please. We're going to send you a request to unmute your microphone. For our dial-in users, in order to put your hand up, you're going to need to dial *3.
Can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead, please.
Thank you. Good afternoon. I'm a licensed acupuncturist. My name is Chad Huang. I'm a licensed acupuncturist in California. And I just completed my doctorate of acupuncture and herbal medicine from AMU. So first of all, I would like to thank the board for addressing this pressing issue. I came across an article in Journal of Integrative Medicine. The title is called Distribution of Licensed Acupuncturists and Educational Institutions in the United States at the start of 2023 during the late stage of COVID-19 pandemic. So in this article, basically it talks about the number of acupuncturists are down both nationwide and in California from 2018 to 2023. The number of acupuncture schools are down both nationwide and California from 2018 to 2023. So the key takeaway from the article is that our profession is severely impacted by COVID, but we also have to look within our profession. Our graduates are struggling to find a job or start business. The acupuncture schools are struggling to recruit students. Just this year, 2 acupuncture schools closed down in California. As we all know, physical therapists already doing cupping and gua sha, and now they want to do dry needling. With all the chiropractors are being doctors, all physical therapists are being doctors. For us, acupuncturists not having our doctor degree, I think it's not just a risk, it's an existential risk. So we need to elevate our profession, otherwise our profession will be eliminated. The second point I would like to discuss today is what we can add to the curriculum of doctoral program. The first that comes to my mind is specialty. Oftentimes, patients will ask us what is our specialty. In the doctor program, it would be a good opportunity for the students to pick an area they want to specialize in, such as pain management, GI, stroke, pediatric, gynecology, etc. Second, acupuncture schools can also add doctoral curriculum such as scalp acupuncture, abdominal acupuncture, trigger point acupuncture, subcutaneous acupuncture, etc., so that students are not only familiar with the traditional meridian acupuncture, they're also learning modern acupuncture, which
30
integrates
seconds.
anatomy to the treatment. That way, it'll be more accepted in the mainstream and hopefully more accessible to our patients. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we're going to hear from a different Chad. Hold on just a moment, please. We're sending you a request to unmute your microphone.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead, please.
Hi, I've just been listening to the last several comments, and I don't know if I have anything new to add, except that there's a perspective that hasn't been raised, and that is that okay, I'm a veteran, and I get almost all of my medical treatment from the VA. And what's been happening the last, I guess, would be the last 7 or 8 years, is that they've had a program called a Whole Person Program, where they're bringing in acupuncturists and herbalists to work side by side with the Western medical doctors, more as a partnership than as an adjunct or an alternative. And I think, from my perspective as a patient, one of the things I look for is the highest level of skill possible to, that sort of, it improves my trust for the doctor. And what this really speaks to is the kind of training that goes on right now in the doctorate programs. I can certainly see that if a doctor of Chinese medicine or acupuncture and traditional herbs were to work side by side as a partner with the medical doctors, say at the VA, I feel like they really have to up their game in terms of skills. And that would include everything from anatomy and physiology to biochemistry to even the interactions of Western drugs with herbal herbal remedies, the use of medical technology. All of that is going to have to be trained in. So these are the things that I'm observing just from what's happening at the VA. My suggestion would be to up the game and have the testing be available to the people who've completed the doctorate program. That's just from a patient's perspective. That's what I would look for. That's it. And thank you for this afternoon. It's been very educational.
Thank you. Next, we're going to hear from Farshid Namin. Hold on just a moment, please. We're going to send you a request to unmute your microphone.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead, please.
Thank you so much for the opportunity. Yeah, I want to talk about something which I talked later in the previous session. So, and maybe more in detail. My concern about the doctoral program education is what I learned from my medical doctor friends that referring me patient. And they always talking to me because I'm graduated from medical school and licensed acupuncturist, doctorate of acupuncture, and faculty of university. So their concern is um, about the standard of the care, and it seems that based on the experience of the medical doctors who referring patient to us, so this is not unique, basically, method for the treatment. I think that as an educator, I think that this is correct because if you, for example, assume that you have 10 doctorate of acupuncture, doesn't matter, DAOM, DACM, or other degree name, which is weird. So in the one room and ask them to treat, for example, one condition, like for example, low back pain or neck pain. I think that, you will see maybe all of them treating differently. So, and this is not, I think, for the consumer, for the public, is not good. So I think that we need to standardize. I understand that some portion may be about ACOM. So, but I think the California Acupuncture Board should set some very firm clinical competencies for the acupuncture school in the whole California state, so that this is what we're expecting for the doctoral programs in this state, that this is the competencies everybody should follow and everybody should learn. This is what we're expecting, for example, from medical doctors. If, for example, we have 10 medical doctors, they all doing surgery for appendectomy in the same way, right? So, and this should be happening in the acupuncture, and this will be strengthening our profession. I have another point about the degree, which, so I totally agree with other previous speakers that the profession should move towards the doctoral program. So,
30
and
seconds.
yeah, maybe if possible, I will talk about this part in the next opportunity. Thank you so much for the opportunity now. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we're going to hear from Ann York Lee. Hold on just a moment, please. We're going to send you a request to unmute your microphone.
Can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead, please.
Okay. I just want to compare the prior discussion regarding the doctor degree, doctor of acupuncture and herbal medicine, regarding the training, regarding the prerequisite and clinic hour. I think in nature, there's a competition among the profession. Look at chiropractor. The Southern California remain only one chiropractic school. So it is very natural. Acupuncture school will continue to close until the last one to stand in Southern California. So it's a natural selection. How the school will survive? Number one is how the school equip their student to treat the patient. I heard, not enough income. I have an assistant being with me. In 6 months after the license, his income is over the California average based on what the board printed out. Okay, so it's based on how you help serve the patient, then you deserve what you did. Okay, you serve a better job, you get more income. It's a natural selection. Okay, and I believe the school has to better equip the student for the current market. I heard there's a standard low back pain treatment. I tell you, no, there's no standard low back pain treatment because everyone is different. If the person is handicapped, how do you make the standard low back treatment? But there are several methods you can apply from the theory and select the best one for the student. Okay, that is the art of acupuncture medicine. So in conclusion, I think the school should sit down and ask their student, what is their challenge? Where is the deficiency? School has externship, not only in their own clinic. There are many successful acupuncture clinics. They make income in an average between 80,000 to 100,000, average, very common. Those are beyond the median line. So schools should send the student
30
to
seconds.
those successful clinic to learn. I conclude my comment. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we're going to hear from Ryan McCarthy. Hold on just a moment, please. We're sending you a request to unmute your microphone.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead, please.
Thank you very much. My name is Ryan McCarthy. I'm here on behalf of the California Acupuncture Coalition to discuss the doctorate degree. The California Acupuncture Coalition suggests raising the entry level to the doctorate degree program to a minimum of 3,400 hours. Currently, the minimum is about 3,095 hours for a master's program, with some at 3,200 hours. So, thank you.
Thank you. And that was the last of our requests online.
Thank you. Chair Kim.
Okay, thank you for your comments. And as I hear all these comments and good informations, I feel as long as I sit on this committee as a chair, I would like to welcome any contribution from association or any individual that's been in the field for long enough so that they have some good insights on real world insights and advice. I've seen other professions are like they are going after the doctorate degree. For example, a doctor of physical therapist, they want to call themselves. I work with a PT and they call themselves a doctor now. PAs, physician assistant, no matter how they started their career or in the position in the medical clinic, now they are going after doctorate in PA. But that's for just the names. I think the most important thing is how much you can recognize the level of the practitioner. I don't have doctorate degree, but anyone, even the PT, the doctor of PT, she calls me doctor. Why? Because it's just out of her the respect. So the doctorate degree should be accompanied with the actual hands-on training. my daughter is in vet school, and now she's in the late stage program. Now they are putting her into a real surgery. She goes into the hospital late in the evening and comes like early morning. Why? Because, or even the dentist, they take the test, and when you don't see the competency on the or your in treating a real human, they don't give you the license. So we have to have a hands-on training, and if they can perform like as other masters who's been and have a lot of experience in practice, maybe people will recognize the value, but not that. So we're going back to this education. We need to overhaul the curriculum that's been set for many, many years as a minimum competency, because that's what the market is demanding. That's what the insurance companies are recognizing. They don't see any value in the curriculum or the services that the acupuncturist who graduate school. And other health professions like athletic trainers, they perform the services the current young generation or the current public demands. But like some of them mentioned that, of course, acupuncture is a holistic medicine, and we don't treat like a cookbook. You know, there shouldn't be a like standard of care in terms of personalized diagnosis and all the other history and the origin of the disease. So, like I said, we need to work on all these requirements and the science requirements and prerequisites and hands-on training. We need more input. So I've been sitting in this in the board, and I hope maybe we can do something. But look at here, you know, I see attendees on the online is 14, and we see less number of the attendees in this room. I think it's because not that they care, that they don't care. It's because they're so busy with the patients, and that's how they have to make their living. But that's why I'm requesting everyone in the field should contribute and come up with a good insights and advice to make us build a better curriculum, which NCCAOM or ACHM couldn't do it last many years. Even the schools couldn't afford any scientific research with the full-time researchers or full-time professors. I don't know if you compare to Chinese schools in China or Korean schools in Korea, we need more work to come up with this curriculum update. So I request again to participate all the masters who has in their expertise. And personally, I prefer specialty certificate or recognition than doctorate degree. Of course, judicial doctor or other, practical doctor can be used. But I think right now, all the newcomers, this is about newcomers. This is not about those masters or long-time practitioners, even associations. This is about the future of California acupuncturists. So if you can chip in all your, knowledge and expertise and insights, as a board, we will accommodate, and then we can come up with a better curriculum design. So going to degree titles. So degree titles. So also, I think we should consider what we call, but we have to be in mind that we are working with or competing with other health profession. So we have to, if we want to call ourselves something, then we have to come up with a program that other people can recognize. So that's what I think, but maybe we can open a discussion to the public.
So the committee is moving on to item 4B, degree titles. And the chair has called for public comment from members in the audience. As a recap from the last meeting, degree titles is not controlled by the board. Therefore, mandating a degree title on part of the board would not be possible. But the profession can work with the accreditors and the educators to arrive at a degree title that, as Chair Kim mentioned, is recognized by everyone in the profession and by all the educators, as well as those outside the profession.
Neil
Dr. Miller.
from Cal Atma. There are a lot of, there's one licensing title, the LAC in California. But we were issued a degree from the state, an OMD. It was a period in the early 1990s. I've already, during the course of this meeting, I've put out some requests to get the actual data about when it started, when it ended, and approximately how many people have this title OMD. And I'm trying to figure out, can I just use that on my card? Is anybody going to question it? Nobody likes the word Oriental anymore, so I'm looking at a legislative vehicle to change that. There's a finite number of people, and if the licensing title does change to something else, that it would be representative of that. But I'm trying to figure out what to do with the less than 200 OMDs that are out there. Most of them are retired. But it's something that I personally need to know, and a lot of our members and other people around the state need to have some guidance from this. So if the board could look up their history and come up with something, put it on an agenda, but that's something that we need to address, of a licensing title that was issued that cannot be removed for those who are OMDs.
Thank you.
Thank you. For the degree titles, I think it's really need unity and clarity. From my own experience, already changed 3 times during my study time. So right now, currently, we use we can use a doctor of acupuncture herb, and or right now we are using doctor of acupuncture and herbal medicine. So one is come from ACOM, and one probably we propose to DAH. But the conflict is right now as a school, we need to follow like ACOM's requirements. So they give us the title, we just need to follow. So every time they change, we change. And then I think it's really essential for the California Board of Acupuncture and the ACOM together, collaborate together, discussing about the doctor degree title name. So by unify this title name, we can get a lot of benefit, like aligns with national and international naming practice, and also clarify a distinction between the clinical and the academic doctorate, and strengthen the profession's brand's identity and the public image. Also ensure the trustworthy public image with consumer. So I think that's the most important for us to change our field within the future with the high academic performance and competency, and also with the economic beneficial for all the acupuncturists to get the reimbursement system like with the same level with other doctor profession, such as chiropractor, PT, natural therapy, and natural medical, natural therapeutic medicine, and other, as a chairman mentioned. So at least we need made the name unified and clear. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good afternoon. Gina Huang from Fiber Arches University. And I just want to clarify that ACOM has unified the degree title back in 2024. So as long as the ACOM approved school, they're required to use the unified degree title started from January 2024. Then definitely there are still programs and schools are not ACOM accredited, approved schools, then definitely they will have different program titles and degree titles. And of course, before 2024, we have every single school have our own degree titles, and it is a problem, and it was a problem. And even nowadays, if I have a foreign agency contact us to do a degree verification, there is an issue because the degree title is different. But I think if started from 2024, as long as all the schools are approved by ACOM, accredited, and the degree title stays the same.
Point of clarification, Madam Huang, for you. Sorry. You were saying that the non-ACOM accredited schools, obviously, since they're not accredited by ACOM, don't have to use ACOM's naming convention for
That's
the degrees. So does that mean those that have pre-accreditation, so they're in the pre-accreditation process with ACOM, those don't have to adhere to that system, or these are?
No, I think the initial accreditation started from initial accreditation.
From their
Starting
application.
2024, we are required to use the same unified degree name.
So then just to be, and we'll take this up with ACOM too, just for.
Right, but there are schools, like if they are nationally accredited and they don't have a programmatic accreditation from ACOM, then it can be a different program name.
Title.
And I know there are California schools that they are not ACOM accredited, but their curriculum is approved by the board. So their degree name, their program name can be different.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. I appreciate the clarification. And point of clarification. Any other comments in the room? Let's go ahead and turn to our WebEx. Any comments from people on the WebEx platform?
WebEx is open for public comment. Please raise a hand by tapping that hand button at the bottom of the screen. Dial-in users dial *3 to raise your hand, and we will call on people in the order we have requests. And our first online request is coming from Ryan McCarthy. Hold on just a moment, please. We're sending you a request to unmute your microphone.
Hello, can you guys hear me?
Yes, go ahead, please.
Hello, Ryan McCarthy again on behalf of the California Acupuncture Coalition. We support raising the entry level to the doctorate degree program to a minimum of 3,400 hours. Currently, the minimum is about 3,095 hours for a master's degree program with some at 3,200 hours on prerequisites. Support 90 credits for a doctoral degree with conditional admissions for students with 60 credits. Currently 60 credits for a master's, with about 20% of students at 60 credits. In terms of the science requirements, the California Acupuncture Coalition supports a master's level program with a curriculum that includes a minimum of 350 hours of basic sciences, including required subjects such as physiology, neurophysiology, endocrinology, and neurochemistry. Anatomy and physiology classes should also be required. And lastly, with clinical hours, interns and externships, currently California requires 75% of clinical hours be done at the school's clinic. We advocate for increasing clinical hours in the doctoral program, enhancing student training by increasing access to integrative medicine internships, promoting understanding of Western medicinal approaches, and building competencies for interprofessional collaboration with other healthcare providers. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we're going to hear from Ron Zeidman. Hold on just a moment, please. We're sending you a request to unmute your microphone.
Ron Zaidman from Five Branches University. Yeah, to clarify the titles, I would encourage the Acupuncture Board to continue to work with ACOM, the Accreditation Commission, to simplify the titles. They simplified from what was 28 titles used by the different schools down to 3. And the next step is they have to reduce it to 1. We can't have 3 titles for a profession. It'll be much better that we have 1. So I encourage the Acupuncture Board to continue to work with ACOM as the schools are doing, to support them in coming up with 1 single title for our profession. Because that title, as most of us know, the title that you earn in your degree is the title that you can use in your practice. A medical doctor doesn't get the MD title from the licensing board. They get it from the education that they received. So it is incumbent for ACOM to reduce the 3 titles that they have now to 1. And I know that the Acupuncture Board does work with them on a continuing basis. So just to clarify that point, thank you.
Thank you. Next, we're going to hear from Farshid Namin. Hold on just a moment, please. We're sending you a request to unmute your microphone.
Thank you so much for the opportunity. What I want to add about the clinical education is that what we see some trend in some of the acupuncture schools, but the numbers are not few. It's a very big number of the acupuncture schools. Basically, they are very loose for the clinical education. I see that so some of the acupuncture schools, they offering online or unsupervised clinical hours for the doctoral program. So this is not appropriate at all for the acupuncture school. And I'm so sorry to say that ACOM and also CCOM, which has to set the standards for the colleges and acupuncture schools, so are not competent, so, and basically they close their eyes maybe, and this trend for the acupuncture schools that basically their clinical education is very loose and basically not very measurable and not in person. So it is a harm for our profession. I think that California Acupuncture Board, doesn't matter, what ACOM doing or not, should set the standards and raise the bar for the clinical education for all the acupuncture schools and make sure that basically the doctoral program, doesn't matter in which degree, DA1 degree or first entry doctorate, should have in person with a certain qualification and competencies should basically trained, and this is for the benefit of the public and the people of California. So unfortunately, this is, as I said, this is not happening in one school. It is happening in many schools in California that the clinical education is very loose and not structured. Thank you.
Thank you. And those are all of our online requests at the moment.
Thank you for your comments. We're gonna go item number B. I'm sorry, C, prerequisites. Prerequisites are the courses that they have to take before they can come join the acupuncture program. I think this is very close topic to the gainful employment, because unless you're working for someone, your clinical competency should be coming from the basic health science and clinical science, and all others. Even though you learn this some acupuncture techniques and others, you need to have a basic health science knowledge. So we can, like I said, we can discuss on this issue for as a practitioner. I've been dealing with a lot of different students and other people coming from all different backgrounds. I think it'd be better for profession if you who has prerequisite satisfied students or practitioner come to training, they'll make their high, success better than those who don't. So we can discuss this about issue. So I'll open to the public comment.
Mr. Chair, if I may add to that. In the former discussion, this was grouped together with the science requirements. Of course, this is all under the education aspect, because if you're going to change your doctorate degree, then you may have changes to the prerequisites, so let alone the scientific requirements, the science course requirements as prerequisites. And if there's discussion of a first professional doctorate degree being the standard, should the profession choose to go that direction, then are we going to be looking to have the same requirements that we do of the other medical professions that are operating at the doctorate level? So are you taking a 4 to 5 hour credit, or excuse me, 4 to 5 unit science course with lab portion that all those completing other doctorates are completing to qualify for an acupuncture school? And it's entirely up to you if you would like to mix or put the two together so we can talk about prerequisites and science requirements, since technically science requirements are also prerequisites.
I would say we can keep this system as it is now, and then we can create another route for those who finish the prerequisites to go on coming into the qualified acupuncture program, and we can determine that outcome later.
Yeah, that definitely need to come with an updated curriculum if we're looking to change any of these. Open up to public comment for folks in the audience.
Neil Miller from CalAtma. I have a question. In the past, the board, when we reach an impasse, it's sort of an impasse, the board has had kind of a roundtable discussion. There wasn't anything that was going to be voted on. There were topics of agenda for stakeholders to meet in person and have a live discussion. And it was extremely fruitful in the past. We haven't done that in quite a long time, but I think this is a place where the board might want to have some sort of not a formal meeting like this, but a meeting for discussion. And an exchange of ideas for the board to hear in real time and for the stakeholders to be able to voice themselves. It's very helpful having the WebEx, but it's going to be nothing like having, 18 people or 10 people or whatever it is that show up or invited to a meeting. In the past, the board has invited people. They invited people from schools, or they asked for people to show up and put your credentials in, and the board made handpicked people to show up, people who had participated and that the board members themselves thought would be advantageous. And in the past, different board members put names in and said, this school, these person, we'd like to hear from these people. And they were invited, and we had a roundtable, and it was very fruitful for both the profession and the regulators. Thank you.
Any other comments from members of the audience? Dr. Lee?
Thank you, everyone. For the prerequisite, I think it's really important. It's a foundation for the competency and collaborations. So right now we have under the board system. So we have those kind of science prerequisite like anatomy, physiology, biology, chemistry, psychology. In the humanity aspect, we have like ethics and patient communications. I think all these are very good setting now, but the thing is, at least for the doctor, first the professional doctor titles need to set up the entry level as a bachelor degree. So we can stand together in the hospital or in the public health with other healthcare professor together. So in last year, I represented for the stopping the tutorial program. That's a high school entry level. So I think the bachelor level is really needed for this. We raise the bar. So that's my point. So for this one, we can ensure and share the foundation with other health professionals and prepare students for advanced biomedical learning. So that's all my point. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other in the audience? Let's go with switch to WebEx, see if there's anybody there that would like to make a comment.
WebEx is taking public comment on 4C as in Charlie. If you'd like to make a comment, please raise a hand by tapping that hand button at the bottom of the screen. Dial-in users dial *3 to raise your hand, and we will call on people in the order we have requests. We're going to take just a few seconds longer to see if we have a request for public comment. Looks like our first request is coming from Farshid Namin, or at least our first online. We're sending you a request to unmute your microphone.
Thank you so much. I think, with as other speakers talked about, closing of some of the acupuncture schools and some trends in our profession, which is including, the decreasing number of the students and also closing of acupuncture schools. So it seems it is a time that, we have a better and stricter, let's say, so checks and balances on the acupuncture schools. So I highly encourage the California Acupuncture School increasing the number of the site visits for the acupuncture schools And these will want to basically, we need to make sure that all the acupuncture schools providing whatever they offer to the people of California, and also whatever, expected based on the standards of California Acupuncture Board. Especially as mentioned before, my concern mainly is about the clinical education. And this is basically unified and a standard way as expected by the California Acupuncture Board. I highly encourage the California Acupuncture Board increasing their number of the site visit. I do not know the number of the site visit. Maybe I haven't seen that somewhere. So maybe I'm wrong. So you can advise me. So, but I highly encourage California Acupuncture Board have a more site visit. If you have a budget problem, maybe you can ask for the more budget. But this is my recommendation, that by increasing the number of the site visit, we can make sure that California acupuncture schools are in good track, and we don't have any surprise, like, for example, closing some good acupuncture schools in the past. Thank you.
Thank you. And that was our only online request.
Thank you. As a point of information, the California Acupuncture Board does not have authority to visit school unless there is an enforcement. So there has to be a complaint that something is happening at the clinic for the board to go in, and the board is only going in an investigatory capacity, not an evaluatory capacity. To do so would require statutory change, and that was removed from the board back in 2016 or so. That is for item C. Did you, we can do the science requirements unless you wanted that to be part of the same one.
Yeah, we can we'll include the same. Yeah.
Okay. So then we can move on to the last one.
Okay, we can move on to last item, which is clinical hours, internship and externship. This issue is, like I said, it's very related to our hands-on training. And then I've been in the clinic supervisor and other in different schools, and also as a student, it's very interesting that I sometimes attend some of the small seminars from different country, which they have very highly skilled diagnostic skills and treatment skills. And I think they didn't get skills from school. They got it from their teachers, their masters. So that's how this acupuncture profession, especially the hands-on, hands-down to the other. So you have to be ready, and also when you are ready, you have to go to the right master. Then you can become a good practitioner. So rather than spending time, clocking in and out in the school clinic, which you don't have much to learn, I would give I would say give an opportunity for those students who can go to the choice of their masters, which in some case or most cases school cannot afford for those masters to come to teach in school. I'm talking about externship hours. Maybe it should be, as I recall, the ACOM doesn't have much of a restriction, but board has strict restrictions. So maybe I would propose we can increase the externship so that those students can have more opportunity learn from different masters outside of the school so that they can have more inspiration and better training. So I'll open to this to public to comment and
then provide a little bit more background per our discussion in June. This title is really trying to point out that is the title is clinical hours internship / externship. This is really to point out the difference in language between the requirements among the different organizations that have these educational requirements, right? So the first item is clinical hours. That's board's terminology. And as Chair Kim mentioned, the board has a specific language regarding where the clinical education can take place. And that is in a school clinic, that at least 50% of the education takes place inside a school clinic owned and operated by that school. ACOM's requirements has nothing to do about ownership. It has everything to do about who are the students training under. Are they associated with the school? Do they have liability through the school? And then are they in certain conditions, certain educational conditions? Are those met? And that is ACOM's terminology is internships versus externships. And we have included in the packet, the materials packet, information on board's requirements versus the ACOM requirements. And this specific issue was brought to us by one of the approved schools, seeking, as Member Kim was identifying, that there is less restriction within the ACOM requirements than with the board requirements, and that the board requirements have been around for a long time and things have changed since then. We'd love to hear from the schools about what are the challenges that you're facing there, and what would be probably some proposals of what would help you in addressing clinical hours versus internship, externship. It sounds like maybe the board doesn't have to use the clinical hours 50% owned and operated by this clinic because the board does not have purview over a school's financials anymore. So maybe this is one of the places that's kind of like a vestigial. It's no longer necessary given that ACOM has been given a greater amount of oversight of education and less of that is awarded to the board. So we may have a suggestion to remove or strike that requirement itself and just use ACOM's requirements regarding clinical internships, specifically regarding externships and internships. Please. Any members of the audience that would like to make a comment?
Hi, Gina Huang, Five Branches University. Thank you so much for having this topic. I initially brought it up in March, and unfortunately, I did not. I was out of town, was not here in June to join this discussion. So originally, when we brought it up, the topic, I understand that CAP does not have the term internship and externship. So our challenge was the clinic that's school owned and operated is the challenge that we have when we provide the clinical training. So we do have sites. So for example, we have sites at some senior centers, and it is oversight by the school clinic. We send our own clinic faculty there, and we have interns to go there to provide the treatments. But then obviously the senior center is not owned and operated by us. So in that case, the students only can spend limited time there. And also we have contract with some hospitals for integrative trainings that they can see the patients and work with the acupuncturists in the hospital and with under supervisions. And it's also with the faculty members that work with Five Branches. And but then, of course, hospital sites are not owned and operated by our school. So with this, I think in current world, like we talk about how we train students to be able to work in hospital settings and integrative settings, and with different and those are the trainings that as a school teaching clinic we're not able to provide those experience. And I think it's critical and it's very important for our students to learn and that's how to help them to be able to get a better job when they graduate. And also, it's the same thing. Like we have trainings, we can contract trainings with VA centers. It's the same thing. If we can have our students to get some supervisor training there, and so I don't exactly know how to propose this to change to the words, but we're not really have any. No, it's really
30 seconds.
5%. It's not really about the percentage. It's not something that we want to say that please reduce the percentage for the training. Is that if they can be, we can be allowed to send our students under our schools like oversight, still oversight by us. And I know that there were some comments brought up about the externship qualities, like how do you oversee the qualities? But then these sites are still oversight by our clinic. So the faculty is also trained by our school and they follow our protocols when they train the students. Thank you.
I have a quick question. I remember I attended some of the seminar in your school before, and then some of the graduates saying that they're going to the seminar for dry needling. Do you know how many students are going through this dry needling training, or you have any like plan to do because dry needling is focusing a little different than acupuncture, not as a whole body, but they just specific body parts. But they're very, I think, tempting to those licensees. They want to be trained that way.
Well, I mean, at school, we're not currently providing any courses topic with dry needling right now. And I heard from some of our alumni that they actually went to other state, that they attended some seminars, and they were claiming that they're the acupuncturists being trained, attended those dry needling sessions. But this is just what I heard. And at school itself, we don't have any training topics with dry needling right now.
The reason why I brought this up is I was very curious about the level of training. They're very high, higher than when I was trained in school. And there were some of them are taught by physicians and chiropractors. So we are talking about the competition in education and training, and acupuncturists going to dry needling seminars, and they're very satisfied. So that's the real core questions we have to answer. How are we going to do this curriculum and standard of education should be to compete with current situation here, environment, and that'll directly leads to gainful employment or the success of those graduates. Thank you.
Right. Thank you.
Neil Miller from CalAtma. For statute and regulation, you need something exact, like how many hours. But you can't base competency on hours. So you really need to focus on the curriculum competency and let where that falls guide the amount of hours. And that's what was demonstrated by the hearings and testimonies that we had in the past, where we first evaluated hours and then we evaluated curriculum competency. And at that time, it came out around the same. Around 3,800 hours was what the panel decided was the amount of hours that matched the curriculum competency. And since you brought up dry needling, if you look, it's not in our purview, but just for our discussion, there are places that have 20 hours, 40 hours, 30 hours, 15 hours. Hours doesn't mean competence. And that should be a really good example of what's going on elsewhere other than here. So I hope that as we go forward, we figure out a way to really address the competencies that are necessary. And since this work was already done and is already in the files of the board, it would be efficient for not to put more work on the staff, but to dig that stuff up. And if you can't find it, I'll help you to see what the curriculum competencies and the hours were that we came up with and why there was a political compromise. But that's 25 years ago. And the amount of curriculum competencies there's only increased. So we should take a look at that and use that as the foundation from which to go forward, because it's work that's already been done and everybody signed off on it, both the schools, the profession, and the board.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Miller. Seeing no movement towards the podium at the moment in the audience here, let's turn to WebEx.
WebEx is now taking public comment on the end of agenda item 4. If you'd like to make a comment, please raise a hand by tapping that hand button at the bottom of the screen. Dial-in users dial *3 to raise your hand. We will call on people in the order we have requests. We're going to take just a few more seconds to see if we have a request for public comment. Seeing no requests online, do you wish to continue with the agenda?
Yes, please. And apologies, Dr. Lee, I skipped over you. We have a comment.
Give me another chance. Thank you. For the clinical hours, I think for doctor degree, it's really needed to raise up the hours to make the competency to show up the society, you know. But this is not only our level to do that things. I think it should be a upper authority level to coordinate together, such as like CA, California Acupuncture Board, and ACOM. Also, importantly, the Western Medical Board. I think this is the three unity, you know, both Western medicine and Eastern medicine, they are both medicines, regardless other like PTs or chiros or other healthcare field. But the major group is Western medicine and East medicine. Now we are in America. We need to unify, united with the Western field to make acupuncture to merge to the mainstream. That's why for the upper authority level should be discussed, should be collaborate to let the clinical hours go into the hospital. As a nurse, I see a lot. I see when we check the patients, like all different professions standing there for one patient. Wow, that's a for me, I think it's a little waste. But the most important thing is the Western medicine only more benefit for those kind of critical time in the lifetimes. But the Eastern medicine, you have control, like a benefit that the whole lifespans. So within both Eastern and Western medicine together, if we can implement in the Western field, Western world, in the hospital field, it can benefit thousands and thousands of lives. So the thing is not our level, like schools or clinics, to move to push the movement, but I think it's the legislation, the higher authority, ACOM, CA California Acupuncture Board, especially the Western Medical Board, to persuade them to open their clinic, to
30
open
seconds.
for acupuncture clinical hours goes in there. That's it. Thank you.
I have a quick question. You think raising those requirements and then prerequisites, all this will increase the enrollment or decrease the enrollment?
Can you repeat, please?
Okay, I've seen that before. So if you want to have a better quality of education, you want to raise the requirements, and then the
Oh, okay, I got you.
quality and extended hours. You think it'll promote the school?
I got your point.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree to increase the hours because, you know, for right now, the condition, the PTs, they also want to try or national want to come into the California, but our clinic hours more way higher than the national levels. So that's a good for us. But the thing is, for those science prerequisite, for TCM holistic treatment, I personally believe not requires like extreme like a Western medicine. You need to know very detail about it, but at least you need to know the basic to standing same level with the Western doctor. So, but the hours, the only thing we need for our like students, they lack of the clinic hands-on experience. That's why the more they see, the more they can improve. The thing is, in the Western country, we don't have the environment to let the students to be exposed to the patients, not like China, Korean, or Japanese. So they have the Western medicine and Eastern medicine merged in the hospital 50 years ago, but we can't. So I think still it belongs to legislative level to open the Western like clinic door for the Eastern medicine to see their patients, to give them a chance to practice, to work with the Western doctors. So, but by this way, these are all considered clinical hours. These hours can train the students their vision about the healthcare and their like a communication with a different healthcare profession, and their the communication with the patients. So all of these include the clinical experience. So by this way, I think acupuncture, the public image can be way raised up for the Western world to be accepted and to benefit all the peoples.
I think it's not happening unless we can prove. Let me give you an example. I have a friend who's a dean of a school in New York. Most of his students, they just want to get just NCCOM certificate and to practice, because most of the time they can make more money in massage than acupuncture.
Yeah, correct.
So if we can prove the acupuncture can contribute to this medical system, we need to come up with the answer how we can fortify this and improve the quality of education. That's what I think we need to come up and do some more of research. But it's been going on for many years, and I think it's now time to those who are out in the field to come back and contribute their experience and insights.
Yeah, I totally agree.
Yeah.
I totally agree.
Yeah.
I'm still new in this field, so I still have room to learn, but I really think our acupuncture can go to a new level. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other comments in the room for the first pass? We'll do one last pass. I see a hand is up from a novel commenter on WebEx.
All right, we're going back to WebEx and we're calling on Ann York Lee. Hold on just a moment, please. We're sending you a request to unmute your microphone.
Can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead, please.
Okay. We talk a lot acupuncture education, our competence, market computation level with other medical profession. If we have a macro view, in our constitution, there's not even one word mention education. Does that mean education not important? No, education is very important. But in our culture, in American culture, education is belong to the local issue. It is the school, individual profession. They have decide how to educate their student to serve the people. The school has lead to solve the issue. Why our graduate cannot pay the student loan? Okay, if the school student, graduate student cannot pay the education department loan, then the school loan program will be closed. So it is the school issue. They have to lead, solve the issue. Profession can help, give them an opinion. The acupuncture board can give them the guideline. Okay, make sure they follow the program. But school itself need to wake up and think, why so many years my graduate student, the fail rate in the first 2 years is 80%. It is school had to think over how to equip the student better serve the patient. So education is a local issue, not central issue. And keep this in mind, then we can focus on what we discussed, the training life program, medical life program to equip the student. Okay, the compete with other profession, how to incorporate the modern research in our education program. So this is what I want to say. Education is not central issue. Education is a local issue. School have to
30 seconds.
figure out how to solve the problem, better serve their student for the market need. Thank you.
Thank you. And next we're going to hear from Ron Zaidman. Hold on just a moment, please. We're sending you a request to unmute your microphone.
Ron Zaidman from Five Branches University. Commenting on your comments, what's really in front of us is many dimensions, and when they are all addressed, then we will have success. One of them is education. Yes, the schools, as best as they can, with the limited budget that they have to hire the best practitioners and the best teachers to teach the next generation. That's fundamental. You can add hours or competencies. If the teacher is not a high-class teacher, those hours don't give a very good result. It's from high-quality teachers. The second is the remuneration available to graduates. In private practice, the way the insurance companies remunerate practitioners is very limited, and there the associations have to play their role to enhance the remuneration that educated graduates have. And third is what is already happening, but not happening as fast as in Asian countries like China and Korea, where hospitals have acupuncture departments and hire acupuncturists. But it is happening. So, Kaiser Hospital has an acupuncture department, and other hospitals in other states also have acupuncture departments. So that is happening. So if those three areas move forward, the quality of education with excellent faculty, the remuneration by the insurance structure we have here in the US, And the third, the continued expansion of acupuncture departments in hospitals, then we will be successful. We are being
30
more and more
seconds.
successful. We are being more and more successful. And we, yes, of course, we have to have national organizations and boards like the Acupuncture Board that support all of this to move forward. Thank you.
Thank you. And that was our last online request for public comment.
Okay, we'll move on to agenda number 5, public comments for the items not on the agenda.
Let's go ahead and start with folks in this room. Are there any items that public would like to discuss that was not on the agenda? You have 3 minutes. Going once. Going twice. Let's turn to WebEx.
WebEx is taking public comments for items not on the agenda. If you'd like to make a comment, please raise a hand by tapping that hand button at the bottom of the screen. Dial-in users dial *3 to raise your hand, and we will call on people in the order we have requests. We're going to take just a moment now to see if we have a request for public comment. Seeing no request, do you wish to continue?
Please.
Neil, this was to Chair Kim's opening statement when he was asking for more, looking for ways of getting more participation. Everything's changed since COVID. We all know that. The webinars or the web access has let a lot of people who couldn't make the meeting make the meeting. In others, most of the people who called in today were from LA. Interesting enough, but it is an evolutionary process, and I think as more and more people know that they can have access and have a voice and give an opinion to help the board regulate the profession, I think the more that you'll get. And I have a feeling after this meeting, some of the schools and other organizations are going to have to show up or explain to their members why they're not letting them know about regulations and other things that are changing. So I've recommended in the past that we have some sort of quarterly or twice a year update from the board on things that are happening, just to review, because the majority of practitioners don't belong to any association and they're not getting the information. And it's a simple fix. If we can summarize a couple of meetings and say, these are the things that are going on, these are the changes you need to know, things that you need to know, like a wall license. It took a long time to get the wall license information out there, several years. So I just think that we can be, there's a lot of room for improvement. And I echo what you say about getting more participation. And I have a feeling that it's going to start happening soon.
So next is the next, last agenda for future agenda items to be discussed.
We can start with the committee members. Chair Kim or Member Leung, any future agenda items at this time that you would like to request be considered?
I don't.
Thank you, Member Leung.
I would propose to participate any associations and schools can maybe organize some stakeholders meeting. Maybe not necessarily the board has to participate, but as an individual, I can participate and we can discuss more so that we can have more constructive discussion on in the board meeting.
Thank you, Chair Kim. Turning to the audience, any future agenda items that you would like to propose?
Related to these two committees, right?
Correct. Just this committee? Just this one, yes, thank you. Seeing none in the audience, let's turn to WebEx for any possible WebEx future agenda item comments.
WebEx is open for agenda item 6. If you'd like to make a comment, please raise a hand by tapping that hand button at the bottom of the screen. Dial-in users dial *3 to raise your hand, and we will call on people in the order we have requests. We're going to take just a few more seconds to see if we have a request for public comment. And we're going to call on Ron Zaidman. Hold on just a moment, please. We're sending you a request to unmute your microphone.
Ron Zaidman from Five Branches University. In reading the minutes from the last meeting and seeing the agenda for this meeting, we feel encouraged at what the Acupuncture Board is doing. And at the same, and we understand the limitations of what the Acupuncture Board can do and what its role is. At the same time, I didn't see any motions that would move things in the right direction. So for the next meeting, besides the excellent information you want from the stakeholders, that the meeting can include motions that move well, both the education standards forward. Yeah, essentially that we can see more motions of things that can move forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Zaidman.
That was our only request online.
Okay, so we're gonna adjourn the meeting as of 3:05 p.m.